Hello everyone and welcome to the Young and the Restless channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The next 3 weeks in the Young and the Restless unfold like a storm gathering strength, beginning in mid-April and stretching into the early days of May, where tension, betrayal, and emotional upheaval ripple through every corner of Genoa City and beyond. It all begins with a dangerous game already in motion, as Matt Clark sets his sights on Nick Newman, pushing him toward the edge with a calculated and ruthless attempt to drag him back into the darkness of addiction. Every move Matt makes feels deliberate, like a slow tightening noose, and the pressure on Nick becomes almost suffocating. But just as the danger escalates, Adam Newman refuses to stand by and watch his brother fall, throwing himself into a desperate race against time to pull Nick back from the brink. The stakes rise even higher as Adam finds unexpected allies in Chelsea Lawson and Sharon Newman, both of whom are drawn into the chaos as the action shifts toward the neon-lit uncertainty of Las Vegas. As the city of bright lights becomes a battleground of survival and deception, the question looms, will they reach Nick before it's too late, or will Matt's plan spiral into something irreversible? Back in Genoa City, another storm is brewing, one fueled not by desperation but by betrayal. Diane Jenkins Abbott, armed with Victor Newman's calculated influence, strikes back at Jack Abbott in a move that cuts deeper than he ever anticipated. The betrayal doesn't just sting, it fractures something fundamental, leaving Jack grappling with a pain that lingers long after the moment has passed. Victor's involvement ensures that this isn't just personal, it's strategic, a power play that shifts the balance and leaves emotional wreckage in its wake. At the same time, Sally Spectra finds herself caught in a different kind of suspense, one far quieter but no less consuming as she waits anxiously for the results of a pregnancy test. The uncertainty weighs heavily on her, every second stretching into an eternity, and in this vulnerable moment she turns to Audra Charles, who stands by her side with unwavering support. Their friendship becomes a grounding force amid the chaos, a reminder that even in the most uncertain times, connection can offer strength. As the following week unfolds, the cracks in relationships begin to widen, and opportunists start to emerge from the shadows. Patty Williams seizes the tension between Jack and Diane as her moment to stir the pot, weaving herself into their conflict with a mischievous intent that promises to make everything worse. With the possibility of new allies in Genoa City, Patty's interference threatens to escalate an already volatile situation into something far more destructive. Meanwhile, another emotional storyline begins to take shape as the question of Malcolm Winter's bone marrow donor lingers in the air, heavy with hope and fear. The possibility that Kane Ashby could be the match introduces a twist that has the power to change everything, especially for Lily Winters, whose world could be shaken in the most unexpected way. Gratitude, relief, and disbelief all hang in the balance, waiting for confirmation that could alter the course of their lives forever. Out in Las Vegas, the tension continues to build as unsettling developments hint that the situation is far from under control. Sharon may find herself stepping into danger, joined by Noah Newman and Sienna Bacall as they become entangled in the mission to rescue Nick. The deeper they go, the more unpredictable everything becomes, and the sense of looming disaster grows stronger with every passing moment. Then, as the final week approaches, the chaos reaches a fever pitch, with whispers of an explosion threatening to turn everything upside down. The possibility that Matt could be behind such a devastating act adds a layer of urgency and fear that pulses through every storyline, leaving everyone on edge as they brace for what's to come. Amid all this turmoil, quieter but deeply emotional journeys continue to unfold. Maria Copeland's time in a psychiatric facility raises questions about healing, vulnerability, and whether she'll be ready to face Tessa Porter when the moment comes. Their relationship hangs in a delicate balance, especially as Tessa struggles with lingering feelings for Daniel Romalotti Jr., forcing her to confront whether she can truly let go of the past and fight for the future of her marriage. At the same time, Sally's situation comes to a turning point as the truth about her pregnancy is finally revealed, leading to a heartfelt and deeply honest conversation with Billy Abbott. Whether it's the beginning of a new life or simply a moment of fear that brought them closer, the experience reshapes their connection, opening the door to possibilities that could lead to an engagement or even a wedding down the line. As these intertwined stories surge forward, each moment builds upon the last, creating a powerful, emotionally charged narrative filled with danger, love, betrayal, and redemption. The coming weeks promise not just drama but transformation, as every character is pushed to their limits and forced to confront the choices that define them. And as the dust begins to settle, one thing becomes clear: nothing in Genoa City will ever be quite the same again. As the dust refuses to settle and the tension only tightens its grip, the aftermath of the looming explosion begins to cast a long, terrifying shadow over everything. In Las Vegas, the chaos reaches a breaking point, where flashing lights and distant sirens blur into a night that feels almost unreal, as if the world itself has slipped off balance. If Matt Clark truly stands behind the blast, then his descent into recklessness has crossed into something far more dangerous, something irreversible, and the consequences ripple outward with devastating force. Nick Newman, already teetering on the edge, finds himself caught in the center of it all, his survival no longer just a question of strength, but of timing, of whether the people who love him can reach him before the darkness fully consumes him. Adam Newman refuses to give up, pushing through fear and uncertainty with relentless determination, while Chelsea Lawson and Sharon Newman become pillars of support in a situation that grows more unpredictable by the second. And as Noah Newman and Sienna Bacall remain entangled in the rescue effort, the lines between bravery and danger blur, forcing each of them to confront just how far they're willing to go to save someone they love. Back in Genoa City, the emotional wreckage left behind by betrayal begins to take on a life of its own, spreading into every relationship it touches. Jack Abbott struggles to steady himself after the blow dealt by Diane Jenkins Abbott and Victor Newman, but the pain isn't something that fades easily, it lingers, reshaping his trust and leaving him questioning everything he thought he understood. Diane, despite gaining the upper hand, isn't untouched by the fallout, as victory comes with its own consequences and the lines between right and wrong grow increasingly blurred. Meanwhile, Patty Williams continues to weave herself deeper into the chaos, her influence acting like a spark in an already volatile environment, threatening to ignite conflicts that could spiral completely out of control. What began as cracks in relationships now threatens to become fractures too deep to mend, as secrets, resentment, and manipulation collide in ways no one can fully predict. At the same time, a quieter but profoundly emotional storyline begins to unfold with a sense of fragile hope. The truth about Malcolm Winter's bone marrow donor finally edges closer to the surface. And if Kane Ashby is indeed the match, the revelation carries a weight that is both life-changing and deeply humbling. For Lily Winters, the moment is overwhelming, a rush of gratitude and disbelief colliding in her chest as she grapples with the idea that salvation could come from such an unexpected place. It's a reminder that even in the midst of chaos and heartbreak, there are still moments of grace, moments that have the power to heal and restore faith when it feels like everything else is falling apart. And yet even this glimmer of hope exists alongside the ever-present uncertainty that defines life in Genoa City, where nothing is ever truly simple. Elsewhere, the emotional complexities of love and loyalty take center stage as Mariah Copeland continues her journey within the psychiatric facility, navigating the fragile path toward healing. Her world feels smaller, quieter, yet filled with internal battles that are just as intense as the chaos unfolding outside. When the possibility of a visit from Tessa Porter arises, it brings with it a flood of emotions, hope, fear, longing, and doubt all tangled together. Tessa, meanwhile, stands at a crossroads of her own, her lingering feelings for Daniel Romalotti Jr. casting a shadow over her marriage. Letting go isn't as simple as choosing to move on, it requires confronting emotions she may not fully understand and deciding whether she's ready to fight for the life she built with Mariah. Their story becomes one of vulnerability and truth, where every choice carries the potential to either heal old wounds or deepen them beyond repair. And then there's Sally Spectra, whose personal journey reaches a moment of truth that could redefine her future entirely. The pregnancy test results, once a source of quiet dread and anticipation, finally give way to clarity, forcing Sally and Billy Abbott into a conversation that is as honest as it is transformative. Whether they're facing the reality of a child or simply the emotional aftermath of a scare, the experience strips away pretense and leaves them confronting what they truly mean to each other. In that space of raw honesty, something new begins to take shape, a possibility, a future that feels both uncertain and full of promise. The idea of an engagement, even a wedding, no longer feels distant or hypothetical, but like a path they could genuinely choose if they're willing to take that leap together. As these stories intertwine and build toward their emotional peaks, the world of The Young and the Restless becomes a tapestry of human experience, of love tested, of loyalty questioned, of pain endured and hope rediscovered. Every character stands at a turning point, shaped by the choices they've made and the ones they have yet to face. And as the weeks draw to a close, one truth echoes louder than ever. In a place where secrets never stay buried and emotions run deep, every ending is just the beginning of something even more powerful waiting to unfold. As the echoes of everything that has unfolded begin to settle into something quieter but no less powerful, the lives of everyone involved are left permanently altered, as if the storm that tore through them has reshaped the very ground beneath their feet. In Las Vegas, the aftermath of the chaos lingers in the air like smoke that refuses to clear, each moment heavy with the realization of how close everything came to total devastation. If Matt Clark's actions have truly pushed events to such a dangerous edge, then the consequences will not simply fade with time, they will haunt every choice moving forward. For Nick Newman, survival is only the beginning of a much longer battle, one that now demands he confront not only the external threats that nearly destroyed him, but the internal struggles that have followed him for far too long. And standing beside him, Adam Newman carries the quiet weight of what it means to save someone you love, knowing that sometimes rescue doesn't end the fight, it only gives it a second chance to begin again. As the focus shifts back to Genoa City, the emotional fractures that once seemed manageable now reveal their true depth, exposing wounds that cannot be ignored any longer. Jack Abbott, still reeling from the betrayal orchestrated by Diane Jenkins Abbott and Victor Newman, finds himself standing at a crossroads where forgiveness feels distant and trust feels nearly impossible. The pain has settled into something colder, more resolute, and whatever comes next will be shaped by that transformation. Diane too must face the reality that even calculated victories come at a cost, and that aligning with Victor has pulled her further into a web of power and consequence she may not fully control. Meanwhile, Patty Williams remains an unpredictable force, her presence like a shadow that lingers just out of reach, ready to stir chaos wherever stability tries to take hold. In a city where emotions already run dangerously high, it doesn't take much to ignite another explosion, this time not of fire but of truth, resentment, and long-buried secrets clawing their way to the surface. Yet even within this tension, there are moments that feel almost sacred in their quiet intensity. The confirmation surrounding Malcolm Winter's bone marrow donor becomes more than just a medical revelation, it transforms into a deeply human moment of connection and unexpected grace. If Kane Ashby is indeed the one who steps forward as a match, then his role in Lily Winter's life takes on a new and profound significance, one that reshapes not only their relationship but Lily's understanding of hope itself. Gratitude becomes something she feels in every breath, in every glance, as she realizes how fragile life truly is and how extraordinary it can be when someone chooses to give a part of themselves to save another. In a world filled with betrayal and conflict, this act stands apart, a reminder that compassion still exists, even when everything else feels uncertain. Elsewhere, the emotional journey between Mariah Copeland and Tessa Porter reaches a point where silence is no longer an option, and truth must finally be faced. Mariah's time in the psychiatric facility has forced her to confront parts of herself she may have long tried to ignore, and as she edges closer to being ready for Tessa's visit, there's a fragile strength in her that wasn't there before. Tessa, on the other hand, finds herself standing in the uncomfortable space between past and present, where her lingering feelings for Daniel Romalotti Jr. threaten to complicate everything she thought she understood about love and commitment. Letting go is not a single decision, it's a process, one that demands honesty, courage, and a willingness to risk everything for the possibility of something real. And when they finally face each other, the moment carries the weight of everything unsaid, every fear, every hope, every question about whether love can truly endure when tested this deeply. And then, in a quieter corner of this unfolding drama, Sally Spectra and Billy Abbott stand on the edge of a future that feels both uncertain and full of possibility. The truth about the pregnancy, whatever it may be, becomes less about the result itself and more about what it reveals within them, their fears, their desires, and the unspoken connection that has been growing stronger all along. Their conversation, raw and unguarded, strips away the distractions of the outside world and leaves them with something real, something worth holding on to. In that space, the idea of a shared future begins to take shape, not as a distant dream, but as something tangible, something they could build together if they choose to believe in it. And whether that path leads to an engagement, a wedding, or simply a deeper understanding of each other, it marks the beginning of something new, something that feels earned. As all these stories reach their emotional crossroads, the world of The Young and the Restless feels more alive than ever, pulsing with the energy of lives colliding, choices unfolding, and destinies shifting in ways no one can fully control. Every character stands changed, marked by what they've endured and what they've discovered along the way. And as the camera of this unfolding story slowly pulls back, leaving behind moments of heartbreak, hope, and transformation, one undeniable truth remains. No matter how intense the storm, life in Genoa City never truly settles. It only pauses, gathering strength, preparing for the next chapter that will once again test the limits of love, loyalty, and everything in between.